I died choking on my own blood, the copper taste flooding my mouth as my husband's fist connected with my jaw one final time, his mother's voice a venomous whisper in my ear. Finally, the trash takes itself out. The world blurred into black, but not before I saw my 7-year-old son, hidden in the closet, his tiny fists clenched, tears streaming down his face, too scared to scream, too broken to forget. And then, like a glitch in the universe's cruel code, I woke up gasping in my old bed, the alarm clock blinking 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in 2018, 3 years before that night, my body 29 again, my wedding ring still loose on my finger, and the faint scar from Ethan's birth throbbing like a fresh wound. Holy shit, I thought, heart slamming against my ribs. I'm back, and this time, I'm not playing the victim. The first thing I did was stumble to the bathroom mirror, splashing cold water on my face, staring at the reflection that hadn't aged a day past the hell I'd endured. My dark hair fell in waves to my shoulders, eyes still that stormy gray that Mark used to call bedroom eyes before they turned to storm clouds of resentment. I was Alexandra Hayes. No, wait, Alexandra freaking Survivor now. 30 pounds lighter than the bloated corpse I'd left behind, my skin smooth without the bruises that had mapped out my final months like a roadmap to nowhere. Downstairs, the coffee maker gurgled like it always did, and I could hear Mark's heavy footsteps thudding around the kitchen, probably scrolling through his phone, ignoring the world until it served him coffee. But I wasn't rushing down to play the dutiful wife anymore. No, I locked the door, slid to the floor, and let the sobs come. Raw, ugly ones that shook my whole body. Because if this was real, if God or karma or whatever sadistic force had hit rewind, then I had 3 years to dismantle the prison they'd built around me. And Ethan, my sweet, fierce Ethan. He wouldn't grow up in the shadows this time. I pieced it together over the next hour, huddled on the tile with my knees to my chest. In my first life, Mark and I had met at a dive bar in downtown Seattle, both of us 25 and chasing dreams that tasted like cheap beer and bad decisions. He was a rising star at his family's real estate firm, Hayes Properties, old money wrapped in new suits, the kind that bought influence in the Pacific Northwest. I was a barista with a community college degree in graphic design, sketching logos on napkins between shifts. He swept me off my feet with charm and promises, and I fell hard, blind to the red flags waving like discount banners. We married a year later in a courthouse ceremony, eloped to Vegas for the honeymoon because his mother, Evelyn, couldn't abide the fuss. That should have been flag number 1, Evelyn Hayes, queen of the Hayes dynasty, who treated me like a stray dog she'd reluctantly let inside. By the time Ethan came along, the cracks were spiderwebbing. Mark's late nights turned into all-nighters, excuses piling up like unpaid bills. Client dinners, he'd slur, reeking of bourbon and perfume that wasn't mine. Evelyn would call the next day, her voice syrupy poison. Men need their space, dear. Don't nag. But I nagged because I found the texts, flirty ones from his assistant, then outright sex from interns. When I confronted him, he gaslit me into therapy, convinced the counselor I was hysterical, postpartum depression they called it. The slaps started small, a backhand for talking back, a shove into the wall for questioning his alimony checks to an ex he swore was ancient history. Ethan saw it all, hiding under his bed with his stuffed dinosaur, whispering prayers I'd taught him from my lapsed Catholic days. And Evelyn? She was the architect. In my dying haze, as the ambulance sirens wailed too late, I overheard her on the phone with the family lawyer. Make sure it looks like an accident. Pills and booze, easy for a troubled woman. The secret they'd buried? Hayes Properties wasn't just flipping condos in Bellevue. It was laundering money for tech bros dodging taxes, falsifying deeds to immigrant families desperate for the American dream. I'd stumbled on the files one night, drunk on wine and desperation, copying them to a USB drive I hid in Ethan's toy box. Mark found out, beat me senseless, and Evelyn finished the job with a cocktail of sedatives in my tea. They framed it as suicide. Poor Alex, overwhelmed mom. Couldn't hack it. Ethan went to live with them, molded into their golden boy, while I rotted in a pauper's grave. But not this time. This time, I had the USB's location burned into my brain, the passcodes to Mark's emails, the names of the whistleblowers who'd gone silent after accidents. I stood up, wiped my face, and unlocked the door. Downstairs, Mark was at the island, tie loose, scrolling Zillow listings. "Morning, babe," he mumbled, not looking up. I poured coffee, black as my resolve, and sat across from him. "Mark," I said, voice steady as steel, "we need to talk about your mother's birthday party." It was innocuous, a probe. He glanced up, brow furrowing. "What about it? You handling the cake?" I smiled, the kind that didn't reach my eyes. "Oh, I'm handling everything this year." The next few weeks were a tightrope walk over an abyss. I played the part, smiling at PDA meetings in our sprawling McMansion on Lake Washington, volunteering for Ethan's second-grade bake sale, even laughing at Mark's dumb jokes over takeout tie. But inside, I was a storm building, cataloging every slight, every whispered call to Evelyn. Ethan was my anchor, all gap-toothed grins and endless questions about dinosaurs and why Daddy yelled at the TV during Seahawks games. At 7, no, wait, in this timeline, he was 4, chubby-cheeked and obsessed with building forts from couch cushions. "Mommy, can we make a castle today?" he'd ask, tugging my hand. I'd scoop him up, bury my nose in his hair that smelled like baby shampoo and crayons, and whisper, "The biggest one yet, buddy." And this time, no one's tearing it down. My first move was subtle. I enrolled in night classes at Seattle Central, graphic design certificate, the one I'd abandoned before. Empowering myself, I told Mark when he scoffed. "Good for you," he said, but I saw the flicker, control slipping. Evelyn noticed too, her weekly check-ins laced with barbs. "A working wife? How modern. Just don't neglect the home." I bit my tongue, but filed away her schedule. Bridge club Tuesdays, Pilates Thursdays, and those charity luncheons that were really schmoozing with the firm's dirty clients. By month 2, I had a side gig freelancing logos for local startups, socking away cash in a separate account under my maiden name, Voss. No more joint everything. That had been my cage. I taught Ethan little things: how to spot a lie by crossed arms, how to save quarters in a jar labeled Adventure Fund. For when we run away to the mountains, I'd joke, but his serious eyes said he got it. Kids are sponges, absorbing the fear you try to sponge away. The betrayal deepened when I hacked Mark's phone. Old password from our dating days, Sexy Alex 69. Pathetic. The affair was in full swing. Brittany, 24, fresh out of UW with daddy's connections in the mayor's office. Texts like, "Miss your hands on me," alternated with work emails about offshore accounts. And there, buried in a thread with Evelyn. "She's digging again. Handle it before the auditors come." My blood ran cold. In the first life, the feds had sniffed around Hayes' properties 6 months before my death, tipped off anonymously, but the tip vanished, the whistleblower silenced. Me? I'd been too scared to send it. Now, I printed everything, stashed copies in a safety deposit box downtown, and started anonymous emails to a PI I'd found on Reddit. Ex-cop, discreet, $500 retainer. Just gathering dirt on a cheating spouse, I lied. He didn't question it. Meanwhile, I buttered up Evelyn, hosting her for tea, listening to her drone about the help at the country club. "You're coming around, Alexandra," she purred once, patting my hand like a pet. "Family first." I nodded, thinking of the arsenic I'd researched, not for use, but for the poetry of it. Fall turned to winter, leaves crunching under our boots at Lincoln Park, where I'd take Ethan to throw rocks into the sound. Mark's tempers flared, a shattered mug when dinner was late, a grip on my arm that left fingerprints. But I didn't flinch. "Let go," I'd say calmly, eyes locked on his. He'd blink, release, mutter sorry. Progress? Or just the calm before my hurricane. One night, after he'd stormed out to blow off steam, I sat Ethan down at the kitchen table, his dinosaur plate pushed aside. "Buddy, what if Mommy had a secret plan? Like in your spy books?" His eyes lit up. "Like James Bond." I laughed, ruffled his hair. "Better. Because it's real, and you're my sidekick." He leaned in, whispering, "What's the mission?" "To make sure no one ever hurts us again." That night, I taught him how to dial 911 on my phone, hid an extra key under the mat, and started a journal, not for therapy, but evidence. Every bruise, every threat, time-stamped. Spring 2019 brought the first crack in their facade. The firm landed a big contract, luxury condos in Capitol Hill, but whispers of zoning bribes swirled. I volunteered to help with the open house, schmoozing clients, eavesdropping on Mark and Evelyn's hushed talks in the corner office. "The envelopes are delivered," he said, voice low. "Mayor's a lock." She smirked, that goddamn smirk. "And if your wife pokes around?" He waved it off. "She's busy with her little drawings." I wasn't. That USB from my first life? I'd found it early, tucked in Mark's golf bag during a cleaning spree. Files galore, forged signatures, shell companies in the Caymans. I copied them to a cloud drive, encrypted with a password only Ethan would remember, his first word, fierce. Then, I reached out to a journalist at The Stranger, Seattle's alt weekly, under a burner email. "Interested in Hayes properties? Got docs." She bit, meeting me at a coffee shop in Fremont, incognito in a baseball cap. Lena was sharp, tattoos peeking from her sleeves, skeptical but hungry. "This could blow up," she said, scanning the samples. "You sure you want your name out there?" I shook my head. "Anonymous. But make it hurt." As summer baked the city, tension simmered. Mark grew paranoid, snapping at Ethan for whining, once yanking him too hard from a playground slide. I stepped in, voice like ice. "Touch him again and we're done." He laughed it off, but Evelyn called the next day. "Don't threaten my son, Alexandra. Blood is thicker." "So is justice." I shot back, hanging up. The calls escalated, her accusing me of alienating Ethan, him of nagging. I filed for a restraining order draft just in case. Ethan turned 5 in August, a dinosaur-themed party in our backyard, balloons bobbing like hopeful hearts. Mark played grill dad, charming neighbors, while Evelyn held court with the wine moms. I watched them, plotting. That night, after cake and chaos, as Ethan slept smeared in frosting, I slipped into Mark's study. The safe, combination his birthday, yielded a ledger, handwritten tallies of kickbacks. Jackpot. I photographed every page. Sent to Lena. "Publish soon," I typed. "They're closing in." The article dropped in September, front page digital. Hayes Properties, building empires on shady foundations. It named names, quoted docs, painted Mark and Evelyn as puppeteers in a web of corruption. The fallout was biblical, clients pulling out, the mayor's office issuing denials that reeked of damage control. Mark came home raging, face purple, slamming me against the fridge. "You bitch. This is you, isn't it?" His fist raised, Evelyn's smirk echoed in my mind. But Ethan burst in, toy sword raised. "Leave mommy alone." Mark froze, the boy between us like a shield. He dropped his hand, stormed out. I scooped Ethan up, heart pounding. "You were brave, sidekick." He buried his face in my neck. "I won't let them hurt you." The divorce papers hit a week later. My lawyer, pro bono from a women's shelter, airtight. Custody battle loomed, Evelyn testifying I'd unfit, citing my instability. But I had counters. Photos of bruises, recordings of threats, Ethan's drawings of scary daddy. The judge, a no-nonsense woman from Tacoma, leaned my way. "This court doesn't tolerate abuse," she said, granting temporary sole custody. By winter 2020, the feds raided Hayes Properties, agents in windbreakers swarming the office like ants on sugar. Mark arrested for fraud, Evelyn for conspiracy, her accidents catching up in forensic accounting. Brittany flipped, testifying for immunity. I watched from afar, new apartment in Ballard smelling of paint and possibility, Ethan finger-painting murals of T-Rexes triumphing over dragons. But revenge isn't clean. Mark's trial was a circus, tabloids dubbing it the Hayes House of Cards. He begged for visits, tears in his eyes. For Ethan. I let him once, supervised, watching my son shrink under that gaze. "I hate you," Ethan whispered after, fists balled. "My boy, fierce as promised." Evelyn's twist came in spring, Cancer, stage 4, pancreatic. She reached out through a lawyer. Reconciliation letter dripping regret. Family heals. I burned it, but doubt crept. Was this karma's full circle?
No.
I visited her in the hospice, sterile room overlooking Puget Sound. She was frail, that smirk withered. You destroyed us, she rasped. I leaned in. You destroyed me first. Remember the tea? Her eyes widened, she knew. Ethan's move? He'll testify. Every ugly truth. She died a week later, alone. The climax hit in court, July 2021. Mark's sentencing. Ethan, now 6 and steel-spined, took the stand. I'd prepped him, not with lies, but truths wrapped in love. Grandma said Mommy was bad, but she lied. Daddy hit Mommy, and I saw. It made me sad. The gallery gasped, Mark crumbling, Evelyn's ghost in every flashbulb. The judge added years for endangerment. Pride crushed, utterly. We moved east, to my sisters in Philly, fresh start. Ethan started school. Dinosaurs traded for soccer.
Me?
A design firm gig, nights sketching dreams. No man, no rush, freedom's my lover now. But the hook's twist? In quiet moments, I wonder, was it really reincarnation, or a coma dream that woke me? Doesn't matter. I lived it twice, once to break, once to build. And Ethan's grin? That's the happy ending, uncrushable. Wait, no, that was too neat. The real twist lingered like fog over the sound. After the sentencing, with Mark in federal lockup and Evelyn's ashes scattered by a nephew who wanted nothing to do with the name, I thought we'd won. Ethan and I packed up the apartment, boxes labeled kitchen and Dinos, heading for a rental in Queen and with a view of the Space Needle that promised reinvention. But on moving day, a manila envelope arrived, no return address, postmarked from Tacoma. Inside, a single photo, me in my first life, bruised and broken, Ethan's tiny hand reaching from the closet door. Scribbled on the back. You think it's over? Blood always calls. My hands shook as I hid it in the adventure fund jar. Who? A Hayes cousin, loyal to the bone? Brittany, scorned and spiteful? Or worse, had Evelyn left a contingency, some venomous will claws to haunt us? I didn't tell Ethan. He was humming Baby Shark while stacking cushions for his fort. But sleep evaded me, nightmares blending timelines, Mark's fist morphing into Ethan's face, Evelyn's whisper into my own. We settled in Queen and a cozy 2-bedroom with creaky floors and a balcony where we'd watch fairies slice the water at dawn. School started for Ethan, first grade, all buzz cuts and lunchbox negotiations. I landed a contract with a startup brewing IPAs with punny labels, my designs popping on shelves at Pike Place. Life mimicked normalcy. Grocery runs to Whole Foods, playdates with neighbors' kids, brunches where I dodged questions about what happened with the ex. Divorce, I'd say, sipping mimosa. The good kind, liberating. But the envelope festered. I hired the PI again, Frank, grizzled with a mariner's cap and a nose for bullshit. Dig into Hayes' extended family. I told him over burner coffee at Elliott Bay Book Company. Anyone with a grudge. He nodded, fees doubling now that I had steady pay. Weeks passed, reports on second cousins in Spokane, and Uncle who'd OD'd on Oxy after the scandal. Nothing solid. Then, October, a lead. Victoria Hayes, Evelyn's sister, exiled after a disagreement over the firm in the 90s. Living in a trailer park outside Everett, bitter as black coffee. She hates the family, Frank said. Blames them for her husband's suicide, firm loan gone bad. I drove up on a rainy Saturday, Ethan at a birthday party, wipers slapping rhythm like accusations. Victoria's place was a sagging double-wide, Virgin Mary's statue guarding the porch. She answered in a housecoat, hair like steel wool, eyes narrowing at my face. You the wife?
No, hello.
I nodded, rain dripping. Alexandra. Mind if I come in? She shrugged, leading to a kitchen thick with cigarette haze and cat hair. Over instant coffee, she spilled. Evelyn's puppetry, Mark's daddy issues, the money trail that drowned her own marriage. They ruined me, she hissed.
And you?
You burned him. Respect. The photo? Hers. Snuck it from the house after the raid. Figured you'd want proof. Proof of what? Survival. I pocketed it, throat tight. Why send it? She lit another smoke. To say you're not alone. But watch your back. Evelyn had contingencies. Trusts, hidden accounts. They'll claw back. We parted with a nod. No hugs. Midwest stoicism in Pacific rain.
Back home, I fortified.
Changed locks, installed cameras, taught Ethan a code word for trouble. T-Rex. He took to it like a game, practicing in mirrors. T-Rex means run to Aunt Jess. My sister Jessica in Philly FaceTimed weekly. Bring that kid east, Alex. We got cheesesteaks and no assholes. Tempting, but Seattle was my battlefield. I'd claimed it. November brought Thanksgiving, my first without the haze yoke. I hosted Jess via Zoom, Ethan waving a turkey headdress while I roasted a bird from Zupin's. But mid-carve, my phone buzzed, unknown number. Mrs. Voss? This is Detective Ruiz, SPD. Need you to come in. Regarding your ex-husband. Heart in throat, I left Ethan with a sitter, drove downtown through holiday lights that mocked my dread. The station smelled of stale donuts and regret. Ruiz, Latina with a no-nonsense bun, slid a file across scarred wood. Mark Hayes claims you framed him. Says you planted evidence. Coerce the kid. Bullshit, but the photos, grainy stills from my anonymous meet with Lena, stung.
How?
A tale? I straightened. He's desperate.
Fascine 20 plus.
Check his visitor logs, Victoria. She raised a brow. The aunt? Yeah, she's been in. Stirring pots. I lawyered up. The shelter's pro bono, now full-time. Depositions dragged into December, snow dusting the courthouse like powdered sugar on lies. Mark, orange jumpsuit, leered across the room. You'll pay, Alex.
Ethan's minute.
Ethan? In sessions with a child psychologist, he drew pictures. Happy mommy, sad daddy in jail. The judge shut it down. No contact. Period. Christmas was ours. Tree from a U-cut lot. Lights tangled like my nerves. Ethan unwrapped a drone, buzzing it around the living room till it clipped the stockings. Laughter bubbled, real and rare. But New Year's Eve, fireworks popping over the sound. Another envelope, this one with a USB labeled Truth. I plugged it in, stomach-churning videos, grainy cell cam from the raid. Evelyn, in her office, shredding docs, muttering. Alexandra's fault. That bitch knew too much. Then, a call log to a hitman service disguised as pest control. Chills. She'd planned my death earlier than I thought, months before the beating. The secret? Not just laundering, human trafficking ties, fake visas for workers in the condos, modern slavery under marble counters. Lena's article had skimmed it. This was the core rot. I forwarded to the feds, anonymous again. Raids followed, international now, Interpol buzzing. Victoria called. Stirred the hornets. Good. But pride? Hers swelled, uncrushed. She wanted in, a cut of any restitution. Family share spoils. I hung up. No more blood. Spring 2022, Ethan 7, soccer season. Cleats muddy, cheers echoing at Memorial Stadium. I met a guy, barista at my coffee haunt, easy smile, no baggage. We talked books, not beatings. But trust? Slow burn. Then, the move, Ethan's play, school talent show. He scripted a skit, Dino detective solving a mystery of the missing bones. The villain? A sneaky lizard lady and her bully son. Audience chuckled. I wept silent. His next move, crushing their pride proxy. Post-show, Ruiz called. Mark shanked in prison. Dispute over debts.
Dead.
Evelyn's ghost avenged? Or karma shank? I didn't mourn, relief, sharp as gin. We flew east summer 22, Philly's humidity hugging like old friends. Jess's brownstone, row house rhythm. Ethan thrived, Liberty Bell field trips, soft pretzels for breakfast. My firm expanded, remote work bliss. But the twist twisted back. Victoria surfaced, Philly address somehow known. Letter. Ethan's real father? Not Mark. Me, your college fling before Vegas. DNA in the will.
Lie?
Evelyn's last lie? Test proved it. Mark's, biologically. Relief doubled. No taint. I burned the letter. Told Ethan nothing. Yet. Your dad's a hero in stories, I said.
He grinned.
Like us. Yes. Pride crushed. Ours rebuilt. Unbreakable. Philly wasn't the escape I'd romanticized. It was a pressure cooker, steam hissing from every corner. Jess's place was a whirlwind of yoga mats and half-read law journals. She was climbing partner at a firm downtown, all sharp suits and sharper tongue. You look like you swallowed a lemon, sis, she said our first night, handing me a Peroni on her fire escape. Ethan was conked out on the couch, jet lag claiming him mid-cartoon. I clinked bottles, staring at the skyline where the Schuylkill twisted like a guilty secret. Just ghosts, I muttered. She didn't push, boss women don't pry, we plot. Work ramped quick. My designs for the IPA startup went viral on Insta, craft beer nerds geeking over the punny labels, hopscotch with a kilted rabbit. Contracts flowed, local breweries, even a distillery in Fishtown, wanting bottle art. Money stacked, enough for our own lease by fall, a third-floor walk-up in Northern Liberties, exposed brick and a fire escape perfect for Ethan's drone launches. But the envelopes followed, like bad pennies. One in September, postmarked Seattle, a Hayes Properties brochure, circled ad for luxury legacy homes. Build your future. Inside, a note. Victoria sends regards. She's coming. I upped security. Ring cams, a Glock from a gun shop in Kensington, controversial? In this life, survival trumped sanctimony. Frank, my PI, relocated Leeds. Victoria'd cashed a check from a Cayman account, Evelyn's slush fund. She's funding a lawsuit, he growled over Zoom, cigar smoke haloing his webcam. Custody grab. Claims you're unstable, trafficking ties or some BS. My laugh was bitter. Let her try. I've got the feds thank you letter framed. Ethan settled into school. Masterman, magnet for bright kids, where he dazzled in science fairs with volcano models spewing baking soda fury. Teachers raved. Advanced for 7. Leader potential. I beamed, but inside, guilt gnawed. Had my first life scarred him deeper than this timeline allowed? Nightmares still woke him. Bad dream, mommy. The lizard lady. I'd rock him, humming, You Are My Sunshine, wondering if reincarnation was a gift or a glitch. The controversy brewed at Thanksgiving, Jess's firm party, black tie in a Rittenhouse hotel. I went, velvet dress hugging curves I'd reclaimed at the gym, Ethan with a sitter. There, amid crystal clinks, I spotted him. Daniel, the barista, now a sommelier at the Ritz, pouring reds with forearms that begged sleeves rolled. Alex boss, he grinned, eyes crinkling. The label lady. We talked, his divorce tales mirroring mine minus the felonies, my ex is out of the picture, vagueness. A dance, his hand warm on my waist, sparked something dormant. Dinner, he asked. I said yes, controversial in my fortress of solitude. First date, Italian in South Philly, candlelit booth, meatballs that melted like reservations. He listened, no interruptions, as I skimmed the surface. Abuse, scandal, rebirth sans the literal dying. You're a phoenix, he said, toasting with Chianti. I laughed real. But home, envelope 3. Photo of us dancing, time-stamped. Victoria's eyes everywhere. I whispered to the dark. December snowed us in, holidays hushed. Daniel joined tree trimming, Ethan quizzing him on Dino facts. T-Rex couldn't see if you didn't move, my boy declared. Daniel nodded solemn. Smart kid. Takes after mom. Warmth bloomed, but so did doubt. Trust a man again? After Mark's blueprint? Victoria struck New Year's. Process server at Jess's door, papers for emergency custody hearing. Grounds, mother's involvement in criminal enterprise, unfit per psych eval. Lies doctored, my history twisted into trafficking complicity. Court date, January 15th, Judge Harlan. Old school, with a gavel like thunder. Prep was war, lawyers stacking affidavits, Ethan's therapist vouching resilience. Daniel offered, I'll testify character. I wavered, but nodded. Controversial. Exposing him to this? Hearing day, courthouse echoing footsteps, Ethan in a suit too big, clutching my hand. Victoria slunk in, peroxide hair, mink stole like armor, Evelyn's echo. Her lawyer, slick from D.C., painted me monster. Ms. Voss profited from Hayes' crimes, endangering the child. My turn. Calm, cataloging. I exposed them. Saved lives. Exhibits. Articles fed docs. Ethan's turn crushed, under oath, voice steady. Mommy's my hero. She fights bad guys. Aunt Vicky's the lizard lady, she lies.
Gasps rippled. Victoria flashed puse.
Judge Harlan adjourned, ruling 2 days later. Full custody mine, Victoria sanctioned for frivolous suit, her Cayman funds frozen pending investigation. Aftermath. She vanished, trailer empty, debts piling. Frank's last report. Overdosed. Pills. Intentional? I didn't celebrate. Another ghost, but mine unburdened. Spring thawed alliances. Daniel and I deepened, weekends at the Wissahickon trails, Ethan biking ahead, chattering fossils. Marry him. Jess teased over brunch. Too soon. But his proposal came summer solstice, picnic on the Schuylkill banks, ring simple, sapphire like my eyes. Build with me? Yes. Controversial. Love after hell? Hell yes. Ethan's move? School play. Jurassic Justice. He as Dino DA, prosecuting crook crocs. Standing ovation, his grin my son.
Prida. Hours soaring.
Twist whispered. A call from Ruiz. Mark's death? Not prison beef. Poison. Evelyn's recipe. Contingency closed. We flew west once, scattered fake ashes in the Sound, for closure. Philly our home, fierce family forged. But in quiet, I traced the scar from Ethan's birth. Reborn? Or just awakened? Either way, unbreakable. Marriage to Daniel was a quiet rebellion, courthouse vows in August 2023, Jess as witness, Ethan ring-bearer with a velvet pillow he guarded like treasure. No frills, Philly heat too brutal for lace, my simple sheath dress beaded with sea glass from a Ballard Beach trip. Daniel's eyes, soft brown, locked on mine. All in. I echoed, heart full but vigilant. Honeymoon? A cabin in the Pocahontas, Ethan with Jess, where we hiked falls and made love without ghosts hovering. This real, he murmured post-tangle, fingers tracing my spine. Realer than before, I whispered, meaning timelines. Back in the Liberties, life layered. My design studio boomed, Voss Visions LLC with a fishtown loft space, intern sketching beside me. Daniel sommelier at nights, home to pasta and stories. Ethan, 8 now, ace math, begged for guitar lessons, like rockstar Dinos. Controversial decision 1. I let him quit soccer for it, against team sports build character dogma. Characters and chords, I said. He strummed Nirvana covers, voice cracking pure. But vengeance echoes. Fall brought a documentary pitch, Netflix sniffing Hayes scandal, producer emailing. Your story central? Tempted catharsis? But no. Anonymous consultant. I countered. Interviews blurred days. Reliving the beating, Evelyn's tea, Ethan's closet vigil. Daniel held me after. Silent strength. Proud of you. Ethan drew comics. Supermom vs. Evil Empire. Winter 2024, snow-sculpted Liberty Bell replicas in parks, another shadow. Brittany, Mark's ex-mistress, surfaced on LinkedIn, now activist in Seattle, podcasting corporate corruption survivors. Message. Heard you're thriving. Coffee? Closure. Trap? Or truce? I flew solo, Ethan with Daniel, meeting at a cafe, overlooking the market. She was polished, yoga-toned, no trace of intern naivete. I flipped for immunity, she said, latte steaming. But you? You torched it all. Remorse? Or recon? Why now? She slid a flash drive. Unfinished files, trafficking victim statements. Use it. I pocketed, wary. Tests later. Legit. Names redacted. Enough for a class action suit. Back east, I funneled to lawyers. Pro bono for the exploited. My designs funding ads. Controversy 2. Going public as funder. Voss victim's voice. Tabloids twisted. Ex-Hayes wife profits from pain? Daniel shrugged. Haters gonna hate. Ethan fundraised lemonade stands with Justice Juice signs, raising $500 for Mommy's Heroes. Spring bloomed scandals. The doc dropped. Empire of Lies. Streaming frenzy. My voice modulated narrating the tea's bitterness. Views spiked. Threats followed. Anonymous calls. You'll join them. I traced to a burner. Victoria's old associate? Police shrugged. Harassment file. Daniel installed panic buttons. Ethan learned jujitsu. Tiny throws on mats. Protect the family, his sensei said. My boy, warrior. Climax brewed summer. The suit trial. Federal court in Seattle. I testified. Ethan waiting in chambers with a social worker. Drawing court crocs. Victims spoke. Filipina cleaners, Venezuelan builders. Voices cracking chains. Brittany corroborated. Redemption arc. The jury awarded millions. Settlement to a trust for families. Hayes' name? Mud forever. But the crush. Ethan's testimony. Voluntary at 9. I saw bad things. Mommy saved us. Jurors teared. Defense crumbled. Verdict. Guilty on all. Restitution pouring. Twist mid-trial. DNA twist redux lab error? No, a letter from Mark's cell. Smuggled. Ethan's mine, but you're poison. Forged? Irrelevant. Love defined us. Fall 2024. We road-tripped Yellowstone. Geysers erupting like buried rage. Ethan spotted bison. Like ancient beasts. Daniel snapped pics. Us three silhouetted against steam. Home. Guitar concert in the loft. Neighbors cheering. Echoes fade. But vigilance lingers. Reincarnation's gift? Second chances. Fiercely claimed.
Frida?
Crushed theirs. Ours eternal. One night. Ethan asleep. Daniel and I on the fire escape. City humming. Regrets? He asked.
None.
You? Only not meeting sooner. Stars winked. Happy?
Yes.
Unscarred?
No.
But whole. By 2025, horizons stretched wide, but the past clung like salt on skin after a sound swim. The trust from the suit ballooned, invested wisely in microloans for immigrant entrepreneurs, my designs branding their ventures, coffee carts in El Salvador, textile co-ops in Vietnam. Voss Visions Global, the loft banner read, interns from Temple buzzing with ideas. Daniel pivoted to wine consulting, gigs in Napa pulling him west quarterly. Miss you already, heat text from vineyards, bottles shipped home like love letters. Ethan, 10, mastered guitar, school band star, but his eyes held depths. First life echoes? Or just growing pains? Controversy 3. The book. Agent from the docks buzz pitched, reborn in rage, a survivor's reckoning. Ghostwriter, outline ready. Your voice, Alex, raw, American grit. Daniel greenlit. Heal public.
Ethan?
Write the lizard lady exploding. I signed, typing nights in the loft, words pouring like rain on slate roofs. Chapters on the beating, Evelyn's smirk, the USB's glow, first person fierce, no punches pulled. Title? Fist and Venom, My Double Life. Launch Fall 25, Union League reading, sold out, Jess emceeing, Ethan signing copies with dinosaur doodles. Q&A turned tense. Was the revenge worth the cost? A mom in the front row, bruise shadowed. I paused. Cost Ethan's innocence?
No.
But silence costs more. Applause thundered. Book rocketed bestseller. Oprah whispers. But tensions crested. A stalker. Victoria's ghost? Notes in my mailbox. Pride goeth before. Police nabbed him. Disgruntled Hayes ex-employee. Obsessed with the doc. Trial swift, my testimony closing. He chose hate. I choose life. Ethan attended, hand in mine, unflinching. Climax redux. Ethan's school project, Family Heroes. Video essay, him interviewing me. Mommy died inside once, but came back strong. With me, she crushed the bad guys. Uploaded to YouTube, viral, millions views, TED Talk offers.
Frida?
His move, utterly demolishing remnants. Hayes' lawyers sued for defamation. Countersuit buried them deeper. Twist final, spring 26, pregnancy test pink. Daniel's grin split dawn. Little Voss incoming. Ethan high-fived. Baby Dino brother. Joy, terrifying. Could I mother anew, unscarred? Prenatal ultrasounds, kicks like Morse. Safe. We bought a row house in Graduate Hospital, garden for herbs and Ethan's band practice. Book tour wrapped in Seattle. Homecoming, scattering imagined ashes at Golden Gardens. Waves lapped forgiveness? Or just tide? Horizons unyielding. Daniel's proposal for a Philly branch of my studio. Ethan's first concert under lights. Baby's heartbeat syncing ours. Reincarnation? Myth or mercy irrelevant. I'd lived Betrayal's blade. Emerged tempered steel. Last echo. A dream. Mark's fist dissolving to dust. Evelyn's smirk to mist. Ethan groan. Hand extended. We won, Mom. Awake, I trace his sleeping face. Yes.
Completely.
Ending. Not tragic, not saccharine, real, resilient. American as apple pie with a bourbon chaser. Sweet, sharp, sustaining.